Hello and welcome to today's Wholehearted Living podcast episode with your host Debs Thorpe. And today we are diving into emotions, what it means to be a deeply feeling person in a messy world. So let's do this. So one thing that I've noticed in common with a lot of clients who are seeking this deeper, more meaningful experience in life, they want growth, they want expansion, they're feeling called to more, is that they are all deeply feeling people. And typically it causes a lot of confusion and a lot of self-judgment, because typically we have grown up with a sense that we are too much, like we're too sensitive, we feel too deeply, our whole existence is too much, it's too deep for a lot of people around us to relate to and cope with. And what can happen is that because, we've been this way since children, that what can happen is that from a very, very young age, we internalize that to be a problem with ourselves. So we're not looking around typically at the world going, oh, it's okay to be different. It's okay that I feel more than those people around me. That's a real gift and that's going to be really invaluable. Typically as children, we're looking around going, how do I make it so that I can fit in? How do I not be so different? Why am I like this? Why am I so sensitive? Why can't I just not feel as much or as deeply? And so it almost becomes this cycle of it not being something that you can just switch off. Like if you are a deeply feeling person in the world, that is your experience as you're going through the world. And so it ends up becoming that is the way that you are. You have likely not been given the tools to know how to navigate being that in the world. And actually what it's become is a mechanism by which you criticize or judge yourself or try and shrink yourself, and it causes so much suffering. That's one thing that I've really noticed with clients is this whole topic and this whole way of being can cause such huge suffering. And so I just want to delve into this a little bit because I really want to take away any sense of what is right and wrong in this so that we can take the judgment and the criticism away from it. There's many reasons, theories as to why some people are more deeply feeling than others, but whether it's a nature-nurture thing. Typically, a lot of clients that I work with have some kind of hypervigilance, very, very strong empathy. They are very aware of others and their environment. They feel very connected to nature, to animals. So whether that is how they are born that way or whether that's an adaptive response to growing up in an environment where they needed to be more hypervigilant, that's like at this stage, that's not the thing that matters. It's how we then navigate that way of being, right? Because I remember battling this for so many years in my own life, and it got to the stage a few years ago whereby I literally I remember walking along the road and being really, really tired and exhausted of feeling so much. I I've been a therapist since I was 18 years old. So I was taught from quite a young age what it was to have boundaries, to be able to hold space for someone, but not take on their problems and their emotions as my own. So I feel very fortunate that I was given that toolkit from a really young age. However, you know, I'm not a cold-hearted person. I have probably, the older I've got, the more I've leaned into. There are certain situations that I will hear about and that will, it feels like a physical breaking open of my heart. And that's painful. And, you know, in that moment, because we're wired to avoid pain, right, as human beings, of course there is that part of me that wants to find any way possible to stop it. You know, in that moment, I don't want to be feeling the pain of the world, of that person, of that experience. And so it's logical that there is that bit in my brain that goes, look, can we just not be like this? It would be so much easier if we just didn't feel so much. And so, you know, I would keep going around in this circle of how do I just not feel so much? Like, what tools, what techniques can I bring in that will just help me to not feel so much? And after many, many failed attempts, I remember walking down the path one day. There had been a particular experience that had really just broken my heart right open. And I remember just having this conversation with the universe that said, okay, I'm done fighting this. I need to lean into the acceptance that I am a deeply feeling person in a particularly messy world right now, and that's going to be tough. And I'm not going to fight this anymore. What I am going to do is make sure that I pay attention to what it is that heals my heart and sews my heart back together again, right? So the second I gave myself permission to go there with the depth of the feeling, there was just so much release and so much more comfort, actually. And so what I then focused in on was, okay, I can allow my heart to break open when it hears of suffering and pain. And, you know, there's so many situations in life that causes it. It feels like a really physical sensation, this real breaking open of my heart. I am also very aware of the places, the people, the environments that sew that heart back together again. And for me, that is nature, that is loving, kind people around me, that's my dogs, that's, you know, lots of different things out in the world that can also help to restore that and heal it. And so what I've learned to do over the years is ensure that that stays as in balance as it can. So if there's tragedy, pain, suffering, I also make sure that I stay connected to the parts, the experiences in the world that help soothe and heal and ground and just surround me with love. So that's really what I wanted to get across in this podcast episode, because it's a tough path to walk when you are sensitive to energies, to people's emotions, where you can read at a deeper level life situations and experiences and people. It's a tough path to walk, and it's a battle that I have witnessed in myself, but with so many clients, where trying to fight against that or try and change that causes more suffering. And so I really just want to reassure you, invite you, if you are a deeply feeling person in the world right now, it's okay that at times that feels really tough or really alone or isolating, or that you feel misunderstood in that, because not everybody is like this, and that's okay. However, you will need to find the things that also allow you to reconnect with the love, the peace, the healing that also exists in the world. Because if we stay too long in the pain, the suffering, the brokenheartedness of it all, it can feel really, the word that I would use to describe this is that it can feel quite claustrophobic. It can feel that you end up getting trapped in a like a cave somewhere. I remember when I didn't have this awareness years ago, and I would go through periods of time, like months at a time, where I would describe it to my husband as though joy, like my own joy, was locked away in a cupboard somewhere inside of me and I couldn't access it. So I was going about life and, I could access a lot of other emotions, but joy, like actual happiness, that was locked away somewhere and I didn't have access to it. And so, it's really important that being a deeply feeling person in the world, that we allow ourselves to feel it all. But we do so knowing that it's not our job to get stuck in any one particular emotion, right? So I really encourage you to allow yourself to be moved, understanding that it's not your job to take on the emotions of others. It's not your job to take on the suffering of the world, or it's not your job to take it on and hold it all and keep it. You are allowed to feel it. You are allowed to let yourself be moved by the world. But I want you to allow yourself to be moved on the whole spectrum of emotion. Okay, you get to also allow yourself to be moved by the beauty, the joy, the excitement, the passion that also exists in the world. So, you will have to craft this for yourself. These will be different for everybody. For me, it definitely is nature. For other people, it will be music. It will be the arts. It will be creation. It will be play. Like, find the thing it is, and you'll know, because your heart will feel like it's healing, it's being soothed, it's being lit up in the activities that are moving you in a really, really positive way, in a way that is healing you. So that's my invitation for you today, that if you do find yourself to be a deeply feeling person in the world right now, it's tough. It is tough. I'm not going to say that it isn't, okay? However, I just want you to know that you're not alone. There's many of us in the world, and it's such an immense gift. And I know that there's going to have been many times in your life when it hasn't felt that way, whereby you've felt the hurt and the pain of a betrayal, or someone who's taken advantage of your very nature, and like there's going to have been some wounds, and I really hear that. I also really invite you to give yourself permission and allow yourself to lean into that this is an immense gift that it means that you experience life at a depth and a level that a lot of people don't. And that's really precious. As long as you allow yourself to lean into the fullness of all of it. Okay, you don't just allow yourself for your heart to get ripped open and torn open by the world, but that you allow yourself to feel the depth and the breadth and the fullness of all of the amazing things in life as well. So when we can allow ourselves to fully lean into the whole scale of the emotions, then it really does balance it out, and it really crafts a really deep, full life. So that's one thing I want to leave you with. Another thing I want to leave you with regards to this topic today is just this understanding that emotions are designed to be transient. Okay, the clue is in the name really for us, that emotions are designed to be in motion. We're not designed to stay stuck, harbour different emotions. They are there to teach us something, guide us into something, let us know that maybe something's off or something's happened. We pay attention to the emotion. We don't ever deny it. We don't ever push it away. We pay attention to it. We invite it to show us what it wants to teach us, and then we release it and we allow it to move. And that's the process that we want to get very good at, being a deeply feeling person in the world, of allowing the emotions to move through us. Okay, so I will do another podcast episode on some of the different tools and techniques of how we actually process emotion. But for today, I just want to invite you to contemplate on that sense, that just because you are a deeply feeling person in the world doesn't mean that you have to hold all the emotion of the world. Okay, allow yourself to be moved, allow yourself to be deeply feeling, allow yourself to experience the whole vastness of the spectrum of emotion. Allow yourself to feel it and release it, and lean into the good stuff as well as all of the harder stuff and the tougher stuff that you'll naturally be picking up on anyway. Okay, so that's my invitation to you for today's podcast episode. Let me know your experience of being a deeply feeling person in a messy world right now, and what it is that helps you to navigate that. Okay, I wish you an amazing week, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon. Bye for now.